We got a bombshell report coming in from Brian Windhorst around the 76ers trade deadline plans, but I just want to make sure you guys are subscribed. The trade deadline is finally here, and if the Sixers make a move today, we will have a video for you guys ASAP. So hit that subscribe button and lock us in as your go-to 76ers YouTube channel. What's going on, guys? Welcome in the 76ers Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Seatman. Just want to get a video for you guys rounding up the latest trade rumors around your favorite basketball team, as Brian Windhorst actually revealed the Sixers' final trade deadline plans, and he fully expects the Sixers to be active. Let's dive into what he had to say here. As he said, I expect Philly to make 1 to 3 trades before Thursday afternoon, and I would also expect them to try. I'm not saying they're going to accomplish this, but I expect them to try to acquire players that have expiring contracts or that have next year's salaries that are not fully guaranteed or that could be easily offloaded. He carries on to say the Sixers have a whole bunch of guys on expiring contracts. The most likely guys to go are Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Furkan Korkmaz, maybe Daniel House, and if you go down the list. And let's start connecting some dots here, because we've heard reports from other NBA insiders that the Sixers could be looking for expiring contracts. And we actually talked about this on yesterday's video, as NBA insider Jake Fisher reported the Sixers had interest in Buddy Hield and Bojan Bogdanovic, and we've talked about it, that the Sixers do need to add some three-point shooting. Well, both those guys definitely answer that bell. And also, this is Buddy Hield. He is on a expiring contract, and I love Buddy Hield. He is that kind of, pure sharpshooter in the NBA, where if you would put him around, an Embiid and Maxey, obviously once Embiid does get back here in the lineup, I think he would fit in really, really well. I honestly think he could fit in to multiple systems in the NBA, but specifically in Philadelphia, I do love the kind of fit there. And Chris Haynes also had this reported around Buddy Hield. He said the Sixers are aggressively pursuing Hield, but the Pacers are not enticed by the Sixers' assets. Mentions 3-team trade is possible. So, listen, you start connecting a lot of the dots here. Would I be shocked if later today that we get a trade that Buddy Hield is heading to Philadelphia and that's a notification I get on my phone? No, by any means. And I think the Sixers want to get it done. It's just going to see if they can, kind of get to a deal here with the Indiana Pacers. But also in terms of Bojan Bogdanovic, who another player, I call Bojan Bogdanovic just a professional scorer in the NBA, can really get it done from all 3 levels, actually shooting the 3-ball very, very well this season. But he's also only $2 million guaranteed, but he also becomes $20 million fully guaranteed on June 29th. So I would love to make a move for a Bojan Bogdanovic, and the Pistons have to make a move. Following the trade they made, the Pistons have 16 players rostered, meaning they are going to have to make another move. So maybe they're looking to, obviously offload, Bojan Bogdanovic. And hey, I'll tell you what, if that's kind of your small ball 4 next to Embiid with Maxey and, that kind of pick and roll, and that's your kick out guy to the corner, sign me up for that. I think he would flourish in a situation like that. But then also this, another big that can shoot it from downtown, Kelly Olynyk. I actually think this would be a great kind of matchup next to Embiid. Obviously, Olynyk is that prototypical stretch 4 that we have in the NBA. This is actually coming in for Brian Windhorst that the Sixers are interested. And listen, Kelly Olynyk is that prototypical stretch 4. And I think if you put him next to Embiid, the Sixers could still run a 5-out offense. And I think it could work. And he's shooting the 3-ball insanely well this season. I mean, on 8 points a game, he's shooting 42.9% from downtown, 56% from the deck. I'm a big fan of Kelly Olynyk's game. Yes, he isn't the, defender that you would want next to a guy like Embiid, but in terms of his offensive talent, he's one of the better, kind of 4s that we have. And listen, we do know the Sixers have been looking for a backup point guard, a guy to come in, run the show. A guy like maybe Javon Carter on the Chicago Bulls could make that, work for the Sixers. But also, in terms of Olynyk, how he fits in with the Sixers, he's an extremely versatile basketball player. I actually think he could run, kind of, if you want to go a bigger lineup, he could run some 3 even. He could run some 5 if you go super small in terms of that. But he's also an expiring contract. I think all 3 of these guys would make a whole lot of sense for the 76ers. But if I had to pick one, I'm probably going Buddy Hield out of these 3, just because I feel like Buddy Hield's kind of got that blackout factor in his game, where if he knocks down his first 2, 3 threes in a game, he could go on and hit 7 or 8 and go win you a big-time game in the playoffs. But let me know. Pick a trade target for the Sixers. BH for Buddy Hield, BB for Bojan Bogdanovic, and KO for Kelly Olynyk. So Brian Windhorst also had this interesting tidbit at the front half of his quote saying he expects 1 to 3 trades. So who else will fit that criteria? We'll tell you that coming up here in a second, but I do want to give a big-time shout-out to PrizePicks, today's sponsor of today's show by 76ers Now. And if you guys head to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use promo code CLNS, you guys will get a first deposit match all the way up to $100. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. The Super Bowl coming up this Sunday. This is the lineup I'm rolling with. They got a deal going on right now where Mahomes is only set at half a passing yard. Obviously going to take the more on that. And then I think Pacheco, he's going to find the end zone this weekend, so I'm going to go more on half of receiving or rushing touchdown for him. Then Brock Purdy, I'm just going to ride the hot hand there, go more on his passing yards at 248.5. Fade my picks or ride with my picks, but if you guys are going to do so, do it at PrizePicks. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use that promo code CLNS. And I'll give you guys a first deposit match up to $100. Link for that in the comments section and description of today's show. So let's look at some guys that are on expiring contracts, that fits that criteria that Brian Windhorst was mentioning early on in today's show at the front half of this quote. And these are all guys that are on expiring deals that I think would fit in well. Tyus Jones, we heard the Wizards want him for 2 second-round picks. But hey, there may not be a better backup point guard that you could bring in the league. His assist-to-turnover ratio is breaking NBA records this season. And I would just love him when Maxi's maybe not in the game. He could run a little two-man with Embiid when he gets back. Big fan of Tyus Jones. Gary Trent, one of the more underrated bucket getters in the league. I think he would fit in well. Kind of a little bit of a poor man's Buddy Hield, kind of a similar player. But this guy right here, my man Andre Drummond, he's killing it with the Bulls this season. I think he would be a great big where even you could run him next to Embiid, but a great backup big off the bench to keep your eyes on. Royce O'Neal as well, 3-and-D wing for the Nets. Then Alec Burks, sharpshooter for the Detroit Pistons. But listen, if I had to pick 2 guys, probably be Tyus Jones and Andre Drummond. Tyus Jones, if you had to give up the 2 second-round picks, I think it would be completely worth it. He's having an unreal year with the Washington Wizards. And, he could come off the bench and really run that second unit for the Sixers. I really like his game, but averaging 12 points a night, 6.3 assists, and the efficiency is stellar as well. 49% from the deck and 39% from downtown. But in terms of a backup big option, Andre Drummond would be a great choice. Listen, he's having a great year for the Bulls. His stats are actually a lot better when he has started this season. I think he's averaging, it was around 17 rebounds a game in games he has started this year, which is incredible. He is really one of the better rebound per minute guys in the league. And I think he could just add a boost and just add more talent to the Sixers front court. And also, it also kind of maybe give Embiid, just maybe an extra week or so at the tail half of this season to, maybe take his time. Drummond can step in and really play starting minutes, but then also come off the bench when Embiid gets back. I would be a big fan of either Jones or Drummond on the Sixers. But some more trade targets for the Sixers. This guy right here. If the Sixers could get their hands on Dorian Finney-Smith, probably one of the best 3-and-D guys in the league. Obviously, the Nets always want a haul for him, so you probably have to give up a couple first-rounders, but I would like him. Malcolm Brogdon, again, he would almost be, him and Tyus Jones would probably be my 2 top choices as guards that you could get at this year's deadline off the bench. I would love him. And then Gafford. I think Gafford's one of those more hidden gems in the league, that rim running, lob threat center. Think he would be a great option if you can't go get an Andre Drummond. But Dorian Finney-Smith, there's no doubt. Perfect option for the Sixers. If you want a guy to knock down the 3-point shot in that corner, in the flow of an offense, that's him. If you want also an elite wing defender who's going to be able to pick up the opposing team's guards full court, that's him as well. He is also, you guys can see it on the picture right now, he's a freaky long defender, man. He's got a super long wingspan. And actually his 3-point numbers, he hasn't been shooting the ball as well as of late, but still on the year. 38.3% from downtown. He's been absolutely lighting it up. I would love him on Philadelphia. I think he would also flourish in just a more winning system that obviously Philly would bring in comparison to Brooklyn. But listen, guys, it's been reported. DFS is not going to go for anything cheap. The Nets want 2 first-round picks. I don't necessarily believe that. I think if maybe the Sixers offered him, maybe a Rocco and a first and a second, maybe they bite on that. Obviously, salaries are going to have to match, but I think the Nets are just trying to drive his trade value up because, listen, I understand he's a hell of a basketball player. The dude averages 9 points a game, and he's a above average defender, but it's not like he's an elite point of attack guy in the NBA. I don't know if he'll necessarily go for 2 firsts. I personally wouldn't give that up for him, but maybe a first and a second and a player. and maybe the Nets say yes, and maybe he ends up in Philadelphia. But let me know. We just gave you a whole bunch of guys that the Sixers could trade for today at the NBA trade deadline. But who's one guy you want the Sixers, or who's one guy the Sixers need to trade for? Let me know your thoughts down below. And guys, make sure you guys are subscribed here to the channel. If the Sixers make anything happen today, we will have a video for you guys ASAP. So hit that subscribe button, lock us in, and go Sixers.